I recently came across this website, and its page transition immediately caught my attention. It has this really smooth and slick magnetic effect that makes switching between pages feel much more engaging. When you click on a different page, the 2M elements on the left and right sides of the screen are pulled toward the center, almost like they are being attracted to each other. At the same time, the panels move inward and cover the current page, while the existing content fades away. Once the new page is ready, the whole transition reverses and the panels move back out to reveal the new content. So I thought it would be a fun animation to recreate, and this is what I came up with. I built my own version using React and GSAP, where the two panels move toward the center while the C elements are dynamically calculated and pulled together to create that magnetic effect. I also added a reverse animation to reveal the new page once the transition is complete. If you enjoy these kinds of React and GSAP animation tutorials, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's jump into the code. Inside app.jsx, I'm setting up the basic routing for the project using React Router. I also create refs for the page content and transition component, along with a little state to keep track of whether a transition is currently running. Next, I create the handleNav function, which controls the page transition when a navigation button is clicked. It first prevents unnecessary clicks, then runs the transition in animation, changes the route, and finally runs the transition out animation to reveal the new page. And this is the main layout. I have the navigation at the top, the routed page content in the middle, and the page transition component rendered on top of everything. Finally, I wrap the layout with Browser Router so the navigation between the pages works through React Router. Inside the page transition component, I start by creating refs for the main transition container, the two panels, and the C elements on each side. These refs will let us directly control and animate each part of the transition with GSAP. Next, I create the main transition container and attach its ref to it. It's fixed to cover the entire screen and sits above the page content. Inside it, I create the left and right panels. Both panels start just outside the screen, one on each side, and will animate them toward the center during the transition. Finally, I add the two C elements on the left and right edges of the screen. They start near the edges and act as the main visual elements of the magnetic effect. The right one is flipped horizontally so both sides face inward, and we'll use these refs later to pull them toward the center during the transition. Before starting with the animation, I import the required GSAP packages and register use GSAP along with the custom ease. Custom ease lets us create our own easing curve instead of relying only on GSAP's built-in easings. This is useful here because we want the panels and C elements to have that smooth, magnetic movement. Here, I create a custom easing function called magnetic. The Bezier curve controls how the animation accelerates and slows down, giving the transition that distinctive magnetic feel instead of a standard linear or power-based movement. Next, I use context safe from use GSAP. This makes sure that any GSAP animations created inside these event-driven functions are properly tracked within the component's GSAP context and cleaned up when needed. Now I create the Animating function, which controls the first half of the page transition. I wrap it in a promise because we'll need to wait for the animation to finish before navigating to the new page. I also make sure both C elements exist, then use getBoundingClientRect to get their current positions. Finally, I define a small gap and calculate the horizontal center of the screen. We'll use these values in the next step to figure out exactly how far each C needs to move toward the center. Next, I calculate the exact horizontal distance each C element needs to travel to reach the center, while keeping the small gap between them. Then I create a GSAP timeline and pass resolve to onComplete, so the promise we created earlier is resolved only after the entire transition in animation has finished. Now I animate all four elements at the same time. The left and right panels move from outside the screen toward the center, while both C elements are pulled inward using the calculated distances. Since all of them use the same magnetic ease and start at position 0 in the timeline, they move together as one synchronized magnetic transition. At the same time, I fade out the current page content by animating its opacity to 0. This happens alongside the panel and C animations, so the existing page is completely hidden by the time the transition reaches the center. Now I create the animateOut function, which handles the second half of the transition. Just like Animating, I wrap it in a promise and create a GSAP timeline so we can wait for the reverse animation to finish before completing the navigation process. Now I reverse the transition. The left and right panels move back out of the screen, while both C elements return to their original positions. Everything uses the same magnetic easing and starts at the same point in the timeline, so the whole transition feels like one smooth movement rather than separate animations. Finally, I bring the page content back by animating its opacity from 0 to 1. I start this slightly after the panels begin moving out, so the new page is revealed naturally as the transition opens back up. Finally, I use useImperative handle to expose Animating and animateOut to the parent. This lets app.jsx trigger the animations on navigation while keeping all transition logic inside page transition. And that's the final result. We built a magnetic page transition where the two panels move toward the center while the C elements are pulled together, hiding the current page before navigating to the next one. Then, the animation reverses to reveal the new page with a smooth and controlled transition. The nice thing about this approach is that the transition logic is kept inside its own reusable component, so you can use the same effect across different pages or projects. If you enjoyed this tutorial or learned something new, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.